Yes, so my people. Hello. How you guys doing? Happy weekend, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. See again, Monica Labalaba. AKA, I say MC with this way, sorry, but no NC work don't finish. AKA Monica Labalistic, my people. No, say tonight that the cooler husband way they try. He promise us the book of Enoch. The story where they even myself, I don't even feel know the story where really did the book of Enoch. But tonight, me myself, I want to know where today. Hello, my people. Happy weekend, everybody. How na day, how area, how everywhere, my people. How everything they go for there. Hope everything is fine. I know. I'm say this praise celebrate. I greet you. Now don't show again. I God go bless you now for we be here tonight. I called you earlier. You called me. Oh, very sorry. I don't know. I don't know when. Okay, maybe now when I want to go take picture for outside. Maybe that's why. And since we are return, I never even check the phone. Hello, Mother Ellen. God bless you. Thank you for the stars. Hi, Lady Jojo One International. God bless you.
Have you shared it?
God bless you for the star. Hello, Mama Lulu One International. God bless you for the star, man. God bless you. So, my people, husband, where they try. That the cooler where you do. Make una not forget, after this program tonight, I also get another program will be a Fiokodi, okay? What you want to call her? Not be really a Fiokodi show, no. Adults, marriage, couple, sex matter. So, my people, make you put your headphone for it, or your iPod, or anything where you want to listen, or you suffer go inside there. You go listen. Make we learn one or two things about our body where they release stress. The main thing where they make me, or where they talk about such adult thing, or because it they help marriage well, and it they help release stress, depression plenty for everywhere. Una know say na different type of depression na it dey o. Some people don't high, while some people you still feel dey control. Now the one where you feel control, the one where no dey there, na you supposed to work towards. Not be the one where you go dey bear, but they use makeup till they cover am up. If you are really depressed, you have to take care of it. Husband, where they try you here.
Yes, just a moment, please.
Wow.
Just a moment. Hold on.
You understand? Make you not try to the bear depression, although now that the cool they not get program tonight, okay? Instead of you to the try to the bear depression, just try and work on it. Make you forget about everything where they bring depression to you. Anxiety. Hello. Husband where they dry.
Hello, lovely people. How una day? Good evening. Shalom. I hope you all are doing just great. You know, we had a program yesterday, okay? Please share the broadcast to your friends. so that they join us to enjoy our story of tonight, okay?
Yes.
So, I don't know if I should be list. Oh, no, I don't have to do that.
What? If you should be what?
No, just a moment. So, yesterday we spoke about what? Can you remember? What was the topic of yesterday?
Cultism. Cultism, whereby we learn traumatic narcissism.
Good student you are, man.
Yes.
Traumatic narcissism. Yeah, you still remember that very phrase, yeah? Traumatic narcissism
Yes,
is
so I
what
really-
you eventually get from cult masters or cult-minded people. Those that are really deep in it, not those that are lured in it to carry out the dirty jobs, but those that are actually lured into it, okay? I hope they are hearing me very well, right?
Very,
The
very
audio is good, right? That's fine. So today we want to speak about something very different from the normal gospel we know, and it's a very rare story you may have not known about. But before I go to the book, let's quickly go to the book of Genesis. If you are there already, Genesis chapter 5, verse 24.
Genesis 5:4.
No, 5 verse 24.
Genesis 5:24.
It's only one line sentence of a statement from the scripture, and it says, Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more because God took him away.
Okay, that's the Enoch where they say he not die.
Yes, that's whom we want to talk about today. The Enoch that did not actually
Was
die.
this the Enoch that collect tithes?
And there was no Enoch. Melchizedek you're referring to.
Okay,
That's a
okay, that
different
one
one
is different.
entirely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've treated that. I told you that
Yeah.
Melchizedek is actually
God.
Jesus Christ that met up with Abraham. Yeah. So if you just new with us, we want to talk about the story of Enoch. Not preaching of Enoch, we don't preach Enoch, but just the story, because you may have not heard the story in your own contemporary churches or your local churches. You may not hear this, and especially in the set of Pentecostals, it's absolutely forgotten because you will not hear any of such thing in the Pentecostal circle. So except if you are somebody that follows scholars, theologians, and attend seminars and try to study some archaeological, historical past and all that, then you might come in contact with this kind of information and begin to reason, wow, the book of Enoch is actually very relevant. But I don't know why it was not canonized in the normal 66 books of the scriptures. But for some reasons, they still kept it apart because it has so much overwhelming information that cannot be overemphasized, or just like with a wave of a hand say, hey, get out, we don't want you. No, because there are so much information about our astronomical formation. Astrology drew a whole lot of information from that, and there you begin to find why things are the way they are right now. And you will be very surprised that the book of Enoch spoke almost about everything from the Old Testament to the New Testament and to the word to come thereafter. So then that makes me to be very suspicious that if we have so much information such as this, why did you exclude it from the normal scripture?
Exactly.
It is supposed to be given to us for us to be wise and know about this stuff. But how come we don't have them on the normal daily scriptures we use in our daily churches? And why is it even criticized in the first place? Is it because the secrets of the angels are revealed? Or is it because the secret of heavens are also partly revealed? Or, there are a lot of stuff, because Enoch traveled out of this very earth You know, there you come in contact with what they call one of the angel that took Enoch around. His name is Uriel. Angel Uriel. You may have heard that before, right? If you go to white garment churches and you go to all those spiritual homes, you may have heard of Uriel, Angel Uriel, and stuff like that. So um, these are the things we are going to be looking at. So if you want to argue that, oh, Enoch, yes, he's actually not in the scripture, no, he was really, really conspicuously mentioned here in the scripture that this man called Enoch walked faithfully, very, no, underline that word, faithfully he walked with God. Then he was no more. What does it mean? He was no more to be found. Then the people knew what happened to him because in the first instance, if you read the book, we are not going to read all the book of Enoch, but there are a few things I want you to know for now. Maybe God willing, another time I'll be able to come back again and try to give you another perspective of what the book is actually talking about. It is a very interesting story, though. Don't be scared to read it. There is nothing that is going to happen to you if you ever read the book of Enoch. You can download it from App Store. You can download it free, and you can even Google it and be able to read it from Wikipedia or something like that. So it's very readily available on the internet. So you can lay your hands on it. So it's not a big deal. So don't let anybody exaggerate it out of proportion or try to incite fear into you that, oh, don't read that book, you will get. No book will ever make you so, except if your mindset is very wrong, maybe. Otherwise, just reading and getting yourself understand and acquainted to the reality of what happened in the past, present, and what is eventually going to happen in the future. So you definitely need to know all this. Well, for your own understanding, and it will make you a better person and a better Christian eventually. Yeah. So in the book of Genesis, we already have seen that a man called Enoch was mentioned in that very part of the book. Enoch. And besides, after that, his name was not mentioned anymore. No much information was given from the normal scriptures we have, but it was like he was referenced here that he walked with God. But if you read the scriptures and you understand some few things, you find out that you remember one story. Let me tell you a story. And this story, when the Sadducees and the Pharisees were tempted, they were trying to tempt Jesus with some questions, very logical questions. They say, hey, Master, we have a question. Jesus said, okay, go ahead. What's your question? They said, okay, fine. We are just wondering about this, your resurrection theology, because we're beginning to wonder now, assuming there is a woman that is married to the first man, and the man died, and the second one, this brother of that same man, have to marry the woman just to keep the name of the first man alive. That one also died. Second one died. Third one died until the seventh one. Now, in the resurrection, who is going to be the husband of this woman? Now, because we understand the scripture much better now, it's a very shallow question to have been asked by such scholars. Okay, you already know that such a question is very malicious because it's not with good intention to know exactly who was going to marry who in the resurrection. So, but Jesus now answered them, and the answer Jesus gave to them was actually from the book of Enoch. Why? Those days, the book of Enoch was widely read everywhere in the scripture. In the church, not church, in the synagogue, amongst scholars, it was widely studied. And if you read the book of Enoch as well, you will find some nice, intriguing information about how come that the Middle Eastern, such as the Sumerian and the Babylonians of those days, they were very good in astrology. They know the position of the sun. They know the position of the star. You remember the Magi that traced the star. So this talent and this idea were already very, very much visible there. No wonder people such as Pythagoras, he has a theory which is widely studied in the mathematical world. He's from Greece. And we know about algebra, which we normally call algebra. He's from Middle East. He's I think an Iranian or a Babylonian. So you have many of them. There, that is where civilization started from. That is where technology started from. That is where aerodynamic stuff actually started from. So if you begin to read, you begin to understand how come this very outstanding knowledge begins from this very part of the world and with these very people. So the book is just a very interesting one. So you may read it. But now I downloaded a copy of it so that we can use it for education purpose. For education purpose. Like I have told you, because the book of Enoch actually have several chapters, up to about 35 chapters, which was subdivided into subject that was dealt with along the line according to how Enoch himself recorded them. Okay, now Enoch has a very, very outstanding experience. Now, if you want to compare any other prophet in the Bible that may have similar experience like Enoch had, then you could think about Ezekiel. If you ever read the book of that guy playing game this evening, they are doing online competition. Hold on. Let me lock the door. Ambrose. I want to go here with earphone. And let me quickly remove this as well. To this side. Yeah. Correct. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah. Okay. So you still can invite your friends. We've not really gone too far yet. I'm just laying preamble before we can really start reading, and I will try to explain at least the few part I want us to understand today. I will do my best to try to explain it very well. But am I audible enough?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I don't want to shout. I don't want to shout. So for that reason, I just want to know if I'm audible enough, right?
Yes.
Now, if you want to compare anybody in the normal scriptures which we have that ever had a similar experience, which is like like Enoch had, you can only think about Ezekiel. Now, the experience Ezekiel had, if you read the book of Ezekiel, because the book of Ezekiel is such, it seems to be very difficult, but it is not if you understand what he saw. What Ezekiel was explaining in his own vision and encounter with an angel, and Ezekiel described the angel and ended up to say, like a son of man. Who do you think it was? Exactly, that was Yeshua that met up with Ezekiel at some point. But Ezekiel was rather, because the angel, let me put it, the angel or the being or Yeshua or the son of man that met up with Ezekiel was trying to teach Ezekiel some certain things. But Ezekiel was so carried away and distracted by the craft that he himself was caught up in. I mean, when I say craft, like a spacecraft, if you understand. Yeah, Ezekiel explained how shining the irons were, how the propeller was turning around. He tried, because now I could understand, and from scholars, and many scholars agree with this stuff. Why? There is no such thing as of the time. So Ezekiel couldn't have used an appropriate word to explain to us what he saw. Doesn't that make sense? Of course it makes sense. There are certain things you may have seen in life, of certain experience you came across. You just can't explain them. You will try to start to explain it somehow. You will just you will be frustrated about it. So you can, if you really read it, you can see he tried his best. He explained the lights from the window and said he has many eyes around it. You understand? Because the light are actually shining from the window. Haven't you seen aircraft? When they are very low and the windows curtain are not shut, you literally see the window, they look like eyes. So what Ezekiel could have seen, Ezekiel have not seen electricity bulb before, so he couldn't describe that. All he could say is, it's like the craft has eyes all over around. And it moves so fast. And the propeller, he measured the legs. How wheel, mix up with another wheel, roll with another wheel. He tried to explain what he saw, but yet he couldn't. But it was recorded down. That is what they call apocalypse. something you came encounter with, either in the future is going to happen, but you cannot explain it, and it is not a personal message. It's something you just can't deal with, but you were able to put them down. So scholars will just like, okay, fine, we keep this under apocalyptic, something, yeah, apocalyptic, something of the end, something that is going to come to pass, because we don't have this experience, we don't even know what it is. But if Ezekiel was to see such a thing now that we live, he will be able to explain it better. He will be able to say something about aerodynamic, or say something about astrological movement. But if you still watch Ezekiel, Ezekiel was able to explain some other outstanding stuff in his own encounter with an alien. And you understand, when you say alien, aliens are actually beings, or rather creatures, who are not native dweller of this very cosmos where we live, right? That those are called alien. Such as if you come to UK, you are alien, right? That is, you are not originally from there, you come to dwell there. But this is what, in most part, what the book of Enoch contains. So I start reading now, folks. I could have said, go with me to the book of Enoch, but you don't have it, I know. Okay. Now, if I go back to, let me just start from chapter 1 to give you a kind of idea of who this, our lovely Enoch is. I will read a little bit fast so that we can be able to cover the most part of it, okay? I hope they are enjoying it from the comment section, right?
Yes.
God
You're
bless you.
wasting.
Eh?
We are waiting for the story.
Of course, this lay the foundation of the story you're about to hear. So I'm reading from the book of Enoch, chapter 1, verse 1. I'm starting from there. The word of the blessing of Enoch. How he blessed the elect and the righteous who were to exist in the time of trouble, rejecting all the wicked and ungodly. Enoch, a righteous man, who was one with God, answered and spoke while his eyes were open, and while he saw a holy vision in the heavens. This the angels showed me. Now, there is difference between where somebody is saying them say, or somebody is testifying as the very first hand information, okay?
Yeah.
Enoch is here declaring that this is what an angel, the person he had contact with. But if we continue reading, you will see the name of the person, because at some point the angel revealed himself to Enoch, and Enoch got to understand whom he was actually dealing with. So from verse 2, from them I heard all things. From who? From the contingent that met up with him. If he has said from him, meaning one person, so long he said for them, from them I heard all things. That means everything that was done while he was with them, he heard them all. Nothing escaped him. So he knows what he's talking about, and understood what I saw. He also declared, this is a kind of a disclaimer. Look, everything I'm saying is true. I heard them saying these things. I saw it happen right before my eyes, and I experienced it. That is what Enoch was trying to first of all argue out, so that you don't doubt him reading his own account of what he encountered and what he saw. I hope I'm not too fast, folks. No? Okay. That which will not take place in this generation, but in a generation which is to succeed at a distant period, an account of the elect. Did you know what Enoch was talking about here? He was talking about me and you. If you ever hear elect, we are the elect. Why are we the elect? Because we were the one that were redeemed through the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach. So we are referred to as the elect. And now Enoch is writing that this whole thing I have seen, this whole thing I'm going to talk about, it is not for this very generation. Does that not make sense? Of course, yes. That first generation actually passed away, was destroyed by water. Then the grandchild of this same Enoch, which is now Noah, was the one that built the ark. The only family of Noah was the one that was spared. So that means that the lineage of Enoch was the one that was also taken to be spared to repopulate the earth again, while our grandfather Enoch was taken away to heaven without dying. And besides, the great great grandfather, because Enoch supposed to be the seventh generation from Adam, and Adam died actually at some point, and Methuselah died, who happens to be the oldest, and all that. So Enoch, on his own part, did not die, rather was taken up to heaven. I will continue reading so that you understand who are these people Enoch is referring to. He specifically mentioned here, but in a generation which is to succeed at a distant period. If you understand when Enoch was talking, this is pre-flood time, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. So for Enoch to say, for this very prophecy I'm talking about, and for this very vision, is for a distant time. It is not going to be tomorrow or next tomorrow. It is for a generation of the elect, which is the redeemed one, the salvation children of the Most High. Verse 3. Upon their account I spoke and conversed with them. Did you understand? His Enoch spoke to these very angels on our own behalf, asking about what will it be, how will it look like, what is awaiting these people, what is your blessing for them. If you begin to read, you will find them. Who will go forth from his habitation, the Holy One and Mighty One, the God of the world, who will hereafter tread upon Mount Sinai, appear with his host, and be manifested in the strength of his power from heaven. All shall be afraid, and the watchers be terrified. Mark that word, watchers, because these people called watchers, who will eventually be terrified when the Son of Man takes position and appear. Don't forget, he appeared before Moses on Mount Sinai, and on Mount Sinai was where the commandment was given. Mount Sinai, you always constantly hear God appear to Moses on Mount Sinai. Haven't you heard that before? So with this, Enoch had already saw this and wrote it down and prophesied it, that the watchers that actually ends up corrupting the human race at some point, you will see that that's where we're actually going. They will be terrified when this comes to pass, because they are already under punishment right now, because we are talking about past story that was speaking about the future, and we have passed a very large part of that future, but though part of the other future is yet to come, which we have not really come in contact yet. And 6, great fear and trembling shall seize them, even to the ends of the earth. The lofty mountains shall be troubled, and the exalted hills depressed, melting like a honeycomb in the flame. The earth shall be immersed, and all things which are in it perish. While judgment shall come upon all, even upon the righteous. Let me ask you a question. I'm reading the book of Enoch for your information. I'm not reading from this Bible, from the scripture. No, this is the book of Enoch, okay? Does it sound like the real normal scriptures or one of those prophets talking? Yes, in my own opinion. What he's prophesying here is confirmed all over the scriptures. All over the scriptures, it is confirmed there. Then I will read verse 7 now. But to them shall he give peace. Who? The righteous. He shall preserve the elect. Did you hear that again? The word elect. Now, the righteousness only come by salvation, and righteousness come by accepting Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And without the death and sacrifice of Yeshua, there shouldn't be anyone righteous. So when he's talking about the righteous receiving peace, understand that peace which Jesus said, I am the Prince of Peace, that is the same peace they are talking about, which is awaiting you and me if you know Christ. If you know Christ. The earth shall be immersed. Okay, I've read that. But 7, but them shall he give peace. He shall preserve the elect, and towards them exercise clemency. Then shall all belong to God be happy and blessed, and the splendor of the Godhead shall illuminate them. Who is the splendor of Godhead? Christ. Why will he illuminate them? Oh, Christ is the light. Of course, yeah. Because when he comes to rule, You don't need the moon and the star again to illuminate the earth. No. The shininess of Christ will give light to the earth. That is why you hear people saying, "Shine down your light on me. Let the people see. In your presence, darkness flee. Power of God shine down on me." They are referring to that light which the devil is trying to change himself to. And that brings us to talk about the Antichrist again. So he's trying to showcase himself that, look, I am that light that the darkness of this world is afraid of, because when that light comes, darkness must certainly flee. So now seeing what Enoch is already saying when Abraham was not even in the picture nor anything, the world. After saying this thing, the world was literally destroyed. All that was left was just Noah, his wife, 3 children and 3 wives. How many people be that? Husband, wife, and 6. You have how many? 8. Just over. They begin to populate the earth again. You can imagine how many thousands of years that would have gone on going before we all could populate this much vast land we are now all occupying. Think about America, Russia, China, Africa. Now we now populate the whole earth and spread out. So what it does mean that Enoch had long said this thing before they ever came to pass. So now let me not take your time. Let me quickly go to, if you read from that chapter 1 up until the last verse of chapter 6, it's always going to talk about our existence in this very period and the time to come. Enoch talked about Jesus extensively. He prophesied about a nation that will be born and carved out, which is Israel. He talked about virtual everything. He talked about David. He referred to them, but he didn't mention their name, but the description, oh my God, fit the inscription of these people I'm talking about. So you know exactly this guy is referring to this guy is referring to that. There is no doubt about it. But let me tell you the account, what Enoch also told us, how corruption came into this world that brought about the destruction of the world with water in the first instance. Okay? I'm going to be reading from the book of Enoch, chapter 7, from verse 1. It happened after the sons of men had multiplied in those days, that daughters were born to them, elegant and beautiful. Does that sound like what you have heard in the book of Genesis as well? Yes. Where was it drawn from? The book of Enoch. So why will you not tell me that you find almost half, or if not all, or rather 80% of what Enoch put down is always replaying back in the scriptures? Yet the main manuscript, you exclude that from the normal canonized book called Biblia, Bible. It does not just make sense. So they are trying to hide something, is my own submission. Otherwise, everything seems to fit. So why separation? But then let's continue. Chapter 2. Verse 2. And when the angels, the sons of heaven, beheld them, they became enamored of them. That is, they became lost. They lusted after them, saying to each other, "Come, let us select for ourselves wives from the progeny of men, and let us beget children." Now, who is speaking? These are the angels. You will soon know who these angels were. They are referred to as the watchmen. They were supposed to watch over mankind. It's like you hire a bodyguard to guide your own daughter, end up in getting your daughter impregnated. That's what it means. So they were supposed to be watching. So in other words, they were watching from a very high mountain. If I tell you this high mountain does not exist here on earth, they have a high mountain where they were watching over the earth. So they begin to see that men begin to multiply. 9 girls, 9 front and back. Normally they be wife material. Something like that. They say, "Man, let us go into them," and began. No, they became very obsessed with them. They begin to wonder, imagine something rubbish. Let me continue so that I will be able to explain vast part of it. Then, that is verse 3 now. Then their leader, Samyaza, begin to count name now. Their leader is called Samyaza, said to them, I fear that you may perhaps be indisposed to the performance of this enterprise, and that I alone shall suffer for so grievous a crime. Their oga patakpata tell them, say, look, I don't understand why you are bringing yourself into this unfruitful business of trying to go into this humankind, to go into them, taking them as your own wife. This is a grievous crime. And since I'm your leader, I'm your chief, I am the one responsible for you, because I am the, like, you have a WO2 leading the squad to wherever to guard. And we are guiding, then your soldiers are imagining to just raid up a whole village for no reason. So when such a thing happened, the Oga Patapata is going to be held responsible in the barracks. Same thing was happening here. So one of the angels, Samyaza, who was the big guy, their leader, said, no, if I do this, I am the one only to be punished because I'm your boss. So we shouldn't do a thing like this because it doesn't even make sense in the first place. Listen. But they answered him and said, we all swear. Do you see persuasion? And bind ourselves by mutual execrations, that we will not change our intention, but execute our projected undertaking. Do you know what that means? Look, we don't cross our mind. These children, these human being, we are going to marry them, we are going to get them pregnant, and we are going to have children with them. In fact, there is no disputation about that. We will not change our mind. We even swear with our own life. We don't care about our position. Can you imagine how resilient they were? They continue. But I will soon tell you one of the reasons why most of all these angels are corrupted and who corrupted them. Then they swore all together and all bound themselves by mutual execration. Their whole number was 200, who descended upon Ardis, which is in the top of Mount Ammon. Now, why they were swearing all this swearing, they were far above. After swearing, they descended on the particular mountain mentioned here, Mount of Ammon. The mount is in Ammon. The Ammon from the Ammonite, if you understand what it is, present day the area of Jordan. That is where one of the mountains they descended upon now, after taking that very grievous decision. And their names are well written down here because this report was given to Enoch, don't forget. Why things became like this was somebody was telling Enoch. Don't forget when we read the book of Enoch, Enoch actually said, I asked, I want to know. And they told me everything and I saw everything and I heard everything. Okay. So now the names of them, the division leaders, the divisional leaders of the corrupt angels, there are the names of their chiefs. Samyaza, who was their leader. Urakabaranamel, Akibel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Askel, Sarakia, Azael, Amias, Batra, Anane, Zavebe, Samzavel, Etai, Turai, Yumiel, Arziah. These were the prefects of the 200 angels. Prefects. These were the prefects of the 200 angels, and the remainders were all with them. Yeah. So what it simply means, the subdivision heads are the names that was just mentioned. Otherwise, they still have other squad who were under them willing to do the same thing Ogakpatakpata wants to do. Verse 10, then they took wives, each choosing their for himself, whom they began to approach and with whom they cohabited, teaching them, number one, sorcery, incantations, and the dividing of the roots and trees. And the women conceiving brought forth giants, whose statures were each 300 cubits, These devour all which the labor of men produce, until it became impossible to feed them, when they turned themselves against men in order to devour them, and began to injure birds, beasts, reptiles, fishes, to eat their flesh one after another, and to drink their blood. Then the earth reproved the unrighteous. Is the story not sad? So, in other words, prior to this time, mankind does not know what sorcery is. Mankind is very ignorant about divining. We don't know all those things. They barely just live, bear children.
So
just
not teach us.
You didn't hear what I was reading? Listen, I will read it again. That's why I decided to stop here so that I can explain. Listen, I will start from verse 10 again. Then they took wives, each choosing for himself, whom they began to approach, and with whom they cohabited. Yeah? Teaching them, number one, sorcery, incantations, and the dividing of roots and trees. You still don't understand now? When they got married to the women on earth, they cohabited now with mankind.
Yeah.
They set up university. Yes, they set up university and begin to teach mankind all kinds of evil stuff. Number one, how mankind can do sorcery. To do obo. In case you don't know what I mean by sorcery, to do divination, obo, to become obo. Yeah. How mankind can throw stuff down and see the position, look the position of the sun, and be able to tell certain things. So they begin to teach mankind all this bad stuff. And they also teach mankind incantations, some languages that the sun will understand and begin to behave possibly the way you want them to behave. Or the wind begin to react. You see people come outside and begin to incantation, maybe hitting something, then you begin to see things happen. These angels are the ones that taught mankind how to do these things. It was written in the book of Enoch, which we have seen here. They started doing this teaching after marrying human beings. They coexisted. So they begin to teach them all these bad things. They also teach mankind about trees, about the root, what you can do with the root of a tree, what you can do with trees, how you can use trees to build your home, how you can use trees for anything and everything. They also taught mankind how to produce weapons of war, how to make spear and arrow, how to do evil. So they literally taught man all kinds of things. What if I told you these guys, they were no longer there, they are no more human being. You can see the size. They were about 300 cubics. And 300 cubic is more than 6 feet. So they were just abnormal human being. And it was very, very difficult for the people to feed them. So in other words, the mother who is supposed to be the mother of one of those giants who is looking very deformed, possibly having 3 arms or 3 legs, because they were not human being, and they hybridize mankind. So the hybridism, ruined the coexistence of mankind with these very hybrid creatures. Let's put it that way. They were hybrid. They were not like pure human being. Human being could not feed them. So anything human being produce, they will eat it in no time. So human being keep laboring for them. So of course you know what's up. Human being attempt to get rid of them, and it was very difficult until this very beast started eating any other thing that comes their way. They begin to eat their flesh and drink their blood. They don't even cook. As we have seen that they begin to drink blood and all the stuff. And one other evil things they were also doing was the fact that they were corrupting animals. They were corrupting animals and creating, making hybrid out of animal, half lion, half bird, half this, half that. So if you begin to see Greek mythology or Egypt mythology or Babylonian mythology, you begin to see that the rest of the body might just be human being, but having the head of a vulture, kind of. So you think this thing started from this very time of angel having contact with humankind, and it will not. Don't let it surprise you. One of the books I read and one of the professors I follow his teaching regarding this, the Book of Enoch, did mention Mami water. It will surprise you. So that means this Mami water we talk about is not just only restricted to the goddess, which is very famous in Nigeria or in West African part. It will surprise you anytime you hear mermaid spirit is actually referring to Mami water, except it is given a different name in our own region called Mami water or something like that. Otherwise, it's just a marine spirit, which was also derived, half a human being, a very pretty lady, and half fish. And you also see Buddha having several arms and several boobs. And you have the Hindus having a cow. All of them have this mythology deriving from this time of this hybrid. Why? When people, because they could do anything and they were very powerful in their own idea. And this hybrid could also travel same way their father can travel, the main angels. And the hybrid also begin to give birth to other hybrid. So they were now becoming more populated than the normal human being, because they end up eating a human being. That was the problem. So let me continue from chapter 8. I hope you guys are not afraid, though. Don't be scared.
No, we are not.
Are they enjoying it from the conversation, right? Okay, correct.
You're listening.
God bless you all. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords. Azazel, you still remember the biggest chief of them? He taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the fabrication of mirrors. He taught men how, that is the angel, taught men how to do those ones, because they were not corrupting men. And the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint and beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, and of all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. Do you understand? So mankind did not know diamond and gold, actually, but these things were just right there in our nose. But these angels have to open the eyes of men. That I just said they open up a university. Yes, they had a place where men will come and learn all this stuff, whether free will or they pay for it. But then if you continue reading, you will understand that they keep stressing that this is how they taught men. And the few men that learned from these ones then quickly set up a cult. Why? They know what you don't know as an ordinary man. And many of them actually receive spirit from them, though being just an ordinary man, they receive powers from this. And one of such men was the man that championed the building of Babel. So let's continue. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. Amazarach taught all the sorcerers and dividers of roots. Amas taught the solution of sorcery. Bacchial taught the observers of the stars, astrologers. Okay, Achibel taught science, how science is, what science means. This one was the one teaching them, because these things they were teaching already pre-existed. Is what they live in their own world. So when you begin to teach human being something in outside this very cosmos that belongs to mankind, you will find them misusing that power to achieve their own personal aim here on earth. Why? Those things seems to be very powerful and they, in a way, work if you have any other extra power to back it up, maybe. Tamael taught astronomy, and Asaradel taught the motion of the moon. And men, being destroyed, cried out, and their voice reached to heaven. Did you understand that? So you see, each of these angels taught their own talent to mankind. So you will understand that astrology did not start today. It was these angels that revealed the secret of the movement of the moon, the movement of the three major stars, the position of the galaxy, the Milky Way. Why? Enoch himself did not just hear this, actually by himself have to travel through this galaxy space, both to first heaven, to second heaven, and even up to the heavens of heaven. Remember, the scripture says you can see the Lord God Almighty and live. Possibly Enoch have seen too much, or rather, he may have seen what he's not supposed to have seen. So the best thing to do to him, Enoch, sorry, if I'm mistakenly say Aaron, is Enoch. If I then God said, okay, you know what? There is no point. You come this time, you're not going back again. So the earthly people cannot really explain what happened to him. Simply, they know he's a man of God. He always walked with God. Now God must have taken him. Other information was not given about him. So if I continue to read how these angels were also punished because God did not underrate or rather overlook their misbehavior. No. God was very displeased about what they did and how the whole earth was quickly corrupted and how mankind suffered a whole lot of evil from the hands of this hybrid, which is not supposed to be so. So I'm reading from verse 9 right now. Then Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, Suyal, and Uriel. Aha. You see, I've mentioned Uriel now for the very first time. Looked down from heaven and saw the quantity of blood which was shed on earth, and all the iniquity which was done upon it, and said one to another, it is the voice of their cries. Now, when the voice was coming, these very angels mentioned are the one actually bringing the prayer of the saint or whoever from the earth as a sweet smelling savour before the Lord. So when these angels look at and they have like somebody knocking at the door, big, 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 they say, hey, let's have a look. What going on? They saw that the much blood is being shed, much iniquity is happening. Love is not there, so much violent. No, they said to themselves, the earth deprived of her children has cried even to the gate of heaven. And now to you, O ye holy ones of heaven, the souls of men complain, saying, obtain justice for us with one, the Most High. Then they said to their Lord, the King, thou art Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings. The throne of the glory is forever and ever is thy name sanctified and glorified. Thou art blessed and glorified. Thou hast made all things, thou hast possessest power all over all things, and all things are upon and manifest before thee. Thou beholdest all things, and nothing can be concealed from thee. Do you know what is happening here? The prayer of the saint is being presented to the Most High God in request, supplication, and praise and worship, recognizing the power of God. So if you think you pray, people have been praying even before this flood destroyed the whole earth. So prayer have been heard by the Lord all this while, yeah? Thou hast been with Azazel. Thou hast seen what Azazel has done, how he has taught every species of iniquity upon earth, and has disclosed to the world all the secret things which are done in heaven. Did you understand? So that means what they were teaching to the people of the earth were the secret things that happens in heaven, in their own community. So the angels knows all this bad thing. Of course, they are with weapons. They have weapons to fight because they are angels and that is what they do. Samyaza also has taught sorcery, to whom thou hast given authority over those who are associated with him. They have gone together to the daughters of men and have laid with them and have become polluted and have discovered crimes to them. The women likewise have brought forth giants. Thus has the whole earth been filled with blood and with iniquity. And now behold, the souls of those who are dead cry out and complain even to the gate of heaven. They are groaning as saints, nor can they escape from the unrighteousness which is committed on earth. Thou knowest all things before they exist. Thou knowest these things, and what has been done by them, yet thou dost not speak to us. What on account of these things ought we to do to them? Now, who was speaking? Angel Michael, Angel Gabriel, Angel Raphael, Angel Uriel. These were the people speaking to the Lord, pleading for the people on earth, letting the Lord God Almighty know that, Lord, you even know these things before it will happen. Why they are happening, you know about it. And now these people have cried out. How come you allow it to stay this long without giving us order to go deal with those 200 angels and cast them to wherever they belong to? Who was saying that? The chief and the archangel Michael. He was very pissed off. He was the one making these prayers before the Lord on behalf of the people of the earth. Why? The angels, the 200 angels, have corrupted mankind, and so much iniquity, so much evil. Mankind have known all those evil, so they kept it to themselves. Then the Most High, the great and holy one, spoke and sent Azariah to the son of Lamech, saying, say to him in my name, conceal thyself. Then explain to him the consummation which is about to take place. For all the earth shall perish. The waters of a deluge shall come over the whole earth, and all things which are in it be destroyed. And now teach him how he may escape, and how his seed may remain in all the earth. Let's stop here. Does that sound like when God sent message to Noah and said, Noah, build an ark for me because I'm going to destroy the earth with water? Does it sound like that, or are you not listening? I read it again, please. Listen, okay? Then the Most High, the great and holy one, spoke. God is speaking now, okay? And sent Azariah to the son of Lamech. Who is the son of Lamech? Noah. Saying, say to him in my name, tell him I send you, that in my name you are delivering this message. First, conceal thyself. Conceal thyself means refrain yourself from the society. Don't do what they do. Get yourself prepared. Get your mind made up. Assignment is coming. You are going to do something. I am going to tell you what to do. But the message was not expressly given here, but the angel has the message to tell him how he will save himself and his family when he will send forth the flood to destroy the earth. And folks, in case you're thinking I'm reading from the book of Genesis, no, I'm reading from the book of Enoch. This book of Enoch was not included in the book, in the normal canonized scriptures which we have called Bible.
But all the story happened before Genesis story.
Well,
Before
Moses. See, the book of Genesis is a narrative of the past.
Yeah,
it's
before
not,
Noah.
Yes, before Noah.
Because he's the father of Noah.
Yeah, before Noah is when this man is writing this thing.
Okay.
Telling him and revealing to him what will happen in the time of Noah. So he is already writing it down as a prophecy of what is going to happen, which eventually happened. So what he said, then explain to him the consummation which is about to take place. Consume. God was ready to consume the whole earth with water at this time. He said, tell him what I am about to do. For all the earth shall perish. The waters of a deluge shall come over the whole earth, and all things which are in it shall be destroyed. What does it mean? It's a very clear English. Tell him, I am going to destroy the whole earth, and I'm destroying it with water this time. Then I will make water to come from both up and down, left, right, and center. The whole earth will be destroyed by water. But tell him, I will show him, say, and now teach him. It asked the angel to teach Noah, how he may escape, and how his seed, that is his children, may remain in all the earth. So this is when Noah was the one chosen to say, Noah, let your children marry, your boys' children, marry for them, because you are going to go into the ark and get and escape the flood that is going to come. Again, the Lord said to Raphael, I know Raphael, right? And Raphael is mentioned here again, right? Again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel, hand and foot, cast him into darkness, and opening the desert which is in Judea, cast him in there. Now, there is a specific address, the champion of those angels that corrupted human being, where he was cast to. And who cast him there? Angel Raphael, according to the book of Enoch. Angel Raphael was the one that cast him to Judea. Throw upon him hurled and pointed stones, covering him with darkness. They throw him into that pit, and they pour pointed stones. You know what it means? Rock that has point to chuku him and cover him up there in darkness. So right now, the Azazel, who was the champion of destroying the earth first, is still in the darkness because he's not going to be released yet until the judgment time. So according to the book of Enoch, this is where this person is right now. Restore the earth, and in the great day of judgment, let him be cast into the fire. Did you see? In the great day of judgment, which is going to come, the judgment of Christ, let him also be. So that means his judgment is already finito. That this also tells me nobody's in the hellfire yet. Everybody's waiting on that last day of judgment. But right now, most people are in a certain places where God chooses to put them. Restore the earth, which the angels have corrupted, and announce life to it, that I may revive it. So this commission was being given to Noah to revive the earth back again, so that he would be able to commission the earth again and make the earth work as he planned the earth to work. All the earth has been corrupted by the effects of the teaching of Azazel. To him, therefore, ascribe the whole crime. Do you understand? So the corruption of the earth, the teaching we receive on earth, which was very corrupted, is upon the head of Azazel, who actually permitted that teaching that he taught mankind. They shall all entreat thee, but their fathers shall not obtain their wishes respecting them, for they shall hope for eternal life, and that they may live each of them 500 years. Let me just stop here for a while, okay? So that I don't keep you bored reading over and over again. Maybe possibly we'll answer a few questions if you see anyone there. What Enoch was actually documenting and apocalyptic writing, we should call it, because that is more appropriate if you want to talk about the book of Enoch, is what he saw, what he experienced, and what he heard. And he actually traveled to galaxies, and he revealed to what we learn today, because there are still much more informations of the book of Enoch. And if you want to find out if you also want to find out some of the information, if they align with each other, you also find some information in the book of Job, when God was having a very tough conversation with Job, making Job understand how the earth itself, the foundation of the earth is laid. And Enoch also talked about it. Enoch actually saw the foundation of this very earth. So I told you Enoch have seen too much. Enoch saw every stages of angels. We usually believe angels have wings. Unfortunately, not all angels have wings. And angels move very fast, yes, because the gravity dynamic here on earth does not hold angels. So that means they can actually literally pass through the wall and travel as much as they want to travel and do certain things. But angels are heavenly servants, which is normally referred to as the children, sons of God. They are not human. They are not supposed to mate with human being. And mating with human being was a very bad thing they shouldn't have done. And their chief Azazel, who did it, is locked up in a dark place with a pointed stone by Angel Raphael, according to the book. Sorry, Mr. Les. So it's actually locked up in a dark place and not going to be released at any point in time. Then the last day of judgment, he will be thrown into the lake of fire. Now, I will tell you something. In the book of Isaiah, you hear Isaiah talk about how art thou fallen, O Lucifer, you fell down, blah, 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 blah. But if you continue to read the book of Enoch, you will find that same story there. So plus minus, if you have actually I have finished the whole book at some point, and now I just read it as a novel, as some, just to know what information is embedded there, and which is very interesting when I read them. But now I'm studying them to be able to align them from what I've already known from the scriptures, to be able to say, oh, this book is not that bad after all. It's not like something you should be scared of, something you think, oh, there is an extraordinary power. No. The only thing you need to know about this book is the fact that the angels were the one that actually taught mankind magic and magician and sorcery and hybrid transplanting. So the all those kind of exorcism, speaking with spirit, able ability to speak with demon. So when you hear incantation, when you hear incantation, you simply were taught a language of the demon. So in other words, when you speak that language, some passing by demon or some demon in the area we recognize that, oh, you are saying something we traditionally understand. So when they say incantation, they are words you simply speak. Possibly it's not like a word, it's not like normal language that is being spoken here on earth, but it could be devilish words or words that I don't know, that confirm your alliance to a certain spirit or a certain words. But you all know when somebody is making a cantation, they usually talk or maybe having something to conjure with. So these are the spirit that taught mankind. So if you ever see any native doctor today who actually says it, that is why sometimes when I finish reading all this kind of stuff, okay, quickly I think about my own local community. I'll begin to think, okay, fine. If it is true, what I'm reading now is right, who then must have taught this native doctor, and what do they actually know if I have to interview any of them, or if any of them would be very, very sincere enough to say, actually, I have extraordinary power, I can see extraordinarily. But unfortunately, no, I don't think so. Not quite, because I don't think so they see anything, to be honest. Where they may try to practice some sort of stuff and maybe their faith is there. Your faith is there doesn't mean it works.
Maybe they see, but the one of like...
Well, maybe I wouldn't know how to just place them just yet, but on my own, I think, well, I would judge them they don't see anything, because I will tell you something. Haven't you watched some street magician who will actually stop you and tell you some certain things that will wow you? You begin to say, how did you know that?
How did you know that?
Yeah, nobody told him he is able to read your mind. So these people, these very angels, when you say sorcery, it's also about reading of mind. We talked about cultism yesterday. So most of those people who eventually become either grandmasters or sorcerers must have learned one of these tricks from what the angel corrupted the whole world with. Then you can be able to do all those kind of evil, then begin to make sacrifices with human being and do all kinds of corrupt stuff that the Lord will never approve of, you know. So that is how the angels came, saw chicks, could not avoid them, marry them, got the whole human race, hybridize, and human became hybrid, and the hybrid was never on the favorable side of the mankind, because they were half human and half angels, let's put it that way, or half alien. And many of them, wait, hold on, have you ever watched Titanic?
Yeah.
No, not Titanic, sorry. Clash of the Titans. Medusa, if you have ever heard about Medusa.
Yeah.
Okay. All those mythology of Greek, those Greek mythology actually was derived from this very time when the whole earth was hybridized by these angels by mating with mankind with mixed blood. And if you read the scriptures very well, you will understand that one of the reasons that prompt this very atrocity is to corrupt the mankind and make sure that Jesus Christ never showed up. The devil knows that the seed of the woman will eventually bruise his own head. Don't forget, before these angels, 200 of them, came to corrupt the corrupt human being, the devil himself had already fallen. They were already demons, but they have no power over mankind until these very guys came now, taught them how to make contact with them. Making contact with them, they became very wise. What did the devil tell Eve in the Garden of Eden? If you eat this, you'll be very wise. So now you see people want to become grandmaster of occult, grandmaster of this, grandmaster of that. What are they looking for? More knowledge. You hear they want to illuminate their knowledge. They want their knowledge to be above the normal contemporary knowledge we have here on earth. They want to know something extraterrestrial, something astronomical, something outside this cosmos. So while seeking those things, you will get them, but there are powers that will teach you. And you will pay dearly a sacrifice for it. So you see people tending to join cults. You see them having to do some other rituals and blah, 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 blah. If you have time, folks, type on YouTube and try to check. Just type witchcraft. If you watch them and you watch what they believe and what they see, why they want to be a witchcraft, you will discover that it's different from our own African witchcraft. Yeah, our own African witchcraft, I don't know, maybe what they are confessing or saying is based on our own
What did they give them?
with our own myth understanding and what belongs to our own cultural understanding. Because if an African witchcraft has to confess to a European witchcraft, honestly, they will not understand what you mean. Yeah, they will not understand, because you can't possibly let them, or rather they will say you are deluded or you have some psychological problem, or you're simply saying things that does not exist. Why? That word witchcraft is different. They Oyibo understand it differently from the African origin, especially the Mami water and all the rest. They also belong to this hybridized God, which each region now go and begin to worship. So you begin to see the all-knowing one eye in some drawings. Just know they belong to all those groups of cults. That still brings us about the cultism we talked about yesterday. So cultism is just is much more bigger and wider in understanding than the normal cultism, in Nigeria, that some group of miscreants are having troubles with other group of miscreants, calling themselves cult factions. But for me, they are just idiots, not exactly knowing what they are doing. That is more or less gang or gangster life than you thinking, okay, you are in the cult or whatever, because you may not even know what that cult stands for. You are just there as a follow-up member, as the case may be. So, folks, for now, that is just the first part of Enoch. And if God willing, we might continue tomorrow, or we do something else tomorrow, because somebody had asked a frantic question yesterday, right? Said, where is heaven located? Sister Glory or Gracious asked that question. Heaven is supposed to be up there above. Yes. No, it's up there above conclusively, to be very honest, because even if from the scripture we still can tell that heaven is up there above. We spoke about the book of Enoch. Enoch will say, I was taken up. He never said I was taken down or I was taken sideways. No, he said I was taken up. Jesus was taken up. Who else?
Elijah.
Elijah was taken up. Moses' spirit was taken up. All the sacrifice goes up. So Jesus is going to descend from up.
Up.
So that means heaven they up.
Up. True.
Have I answered your question? So up, up, up. Then Jesus is going to come down. When the trumpet sound, look into the sky. We will see him. That means he's coming from up. They don't say look down. You will see him resurrecting. No, he has already resurrected.
And
So
they
he
didn't say look among you.
He didn't say look around you or look around your shoulder.
Always in the Bible we say look unto
Yes.
the hill.
Yeah, we look up to the hill. So in other words, and the hill they're talking about is not the earthly hill.
No.
See, this throne of God is surrounded by hill. Hill of jasper, diamond, and gold, sparkling with purple and light, and undescribable light, ushering down from his glory. So if you hear the prophet say, I look up to the hill, they are referring to that throne where the Elohim himself is residing. So that is the hill. And you will surprise Enoch refers to that hill. That the light that comes from the hill is like water gushing out. Light looking like water. So many of them will describe something. It will look like, how can light look like water? It is something they have never seen before, so they can't possibly. But haven't you seen in discotheque, you see smoke? They will pump in smoke into, you can pump fake smoke these days, right?
Yeah.
Then if you shine light in, you look at it from distance, it looks as if dew is falling or water is falling, light. Who knows if that is what he saw? So I'm only just trying to reason some few explanation or rather illustration I found in the scriptures, which I did not quite understand. So folks, I don't know if you have any question, whichever one you have. Question? Okay. Whichever one you have, is it question you have or question? Bismillah. Be my guests. You're welcome. Any question from no question?
Let me see. No.
So
when we go up or they go low. Yes, so they go low down satanic. That's where they go.
So
The evil ones. Yes, so
the Book of Enoch, don't be scared of it. If you can lay hands on it, please, I advise you to read it. It will build your own faith. You will find a whole lot of things you've read from the Bible in there. It will not sound strange. There is nothing strange there. There is nothing heretical there. The only reason I could possibly think they excluded this very book from the canonized Bible could possibly be the fact that the names of angels are expressly written here. But why will you be shielding the name of angels from mankind?
the Book of Enoch is not only the story they withdraw from Bible. There are some.
No, there are many. I mean, we are very particular about this. We have the Dead Sea Scroll, the scroll they found around 1948, which contained the complete book of Isaiah, the original one. Can you imagine? I told you story before. There were some people called the Essenes who were waiting for Jesus Christ to come at any moment, but Jesus came. They never realized that he came, so they separated themselves from the whole community and went to live in a cave. They were the one holding that very original one, so they put it in a very big pot and buried them where they know light is never. I mean, it is never going to be absolutely dry. You know why it's not going to be dry? It was very close to sea and open. The breeze of the salt of the sea comes in there. You know, salt preserve stuff. Salt preserve. Salt is predominantly used to preserve stuff, you know. So that is the reason for all these years that book was not bad. That was the possible explanation. But the books, though a bit damaged, they were able to fix the pieces together and be able to find out that complete book of Isaiah was also part of what was found in the pots. Happy Saturday, folks. What else?
How can she get the book?
You can get the book from App Store. Yes, you can download it free of charge. If you have iPhone, just go to your App Store, say the Book of Enoch. You also have the audio part of it. So if you think you want to sleep and just listen to the audio part of it, or you're cooking with your earpiece, you just want to listen to it, and yeah, there is an audio part of it, and you can also download the audio part of it and just listen to it. But I can assure you, after listening to it, many things will be very clear to you. What shall come to pass?
Okay. Samantha Caro say may you greet them for answer.
Hey, naoni Samantha Caro, yake ya yara ya aiki
Nagejia.
inangejia nakwana.
Kwana gida.
So yeah, so lafiya ko. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, folks, that is all for now. I will leave you with Iyeki because I understand.
No, we are going to. I'm going to come back. It's 10 o'clock.
Okay, so that is it so far, my people. Now, so I know for the Book of Enoch, and
Thank you.
it is not something you will normally hear from your own normal church. But tomorrow, there is one thing I want us to do. Tomorrow we usually do our Bible story, right? So since this weekend is just Bible gist and story and everything, I want us to talk about few things about church doctrine. What doctrines are of the devil and what doctrine is a good one. There are some doctrines we follow, we don't know that this doctrine is going to lead us to hell. Because it's not true, it will not build your faith, it has nothing to do with your own salvation, but it has been a doctrine that is being imbibed by every new convert and old convert, and many churches are now finding themselves doing that. It's not like condemning any church, no, but to condemn doctrine, yes, I can do that. Why? If I don't condemn it and I allow you to wallow in a very wrong doctrine that leads you to hell, God may ask me, why didn't you speak out? But even if I speak, you don't hear, I will still be vindicated anyway. I spoke, but you refuse to listen. But I hope you listen, and I pray God will grant you the grace and strength
Somebody said that the cool.
to listen.
My question is the Book of Job, chapter 1. Why they in the church? I think maybe why they know they preach for church in me.
Oh, my brother or sister, there are a lot of things the normal contemporary churches.
The Book of Job, he said.
Yeah, the Book of Job, yeah.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1, what does it say?
I don't know. He said why they not the preaching for church.
It doesn't really matter what is in the Book of Job, chapter 1. See, it's
Even
just...
Book of Job said not be book where you the reader.
Exactly.
Book of Job is very difficult to read.
I think I once talked about the Book of Job.
Yeah.
We spoke about the Book of Job. I tried to make you understand. Many of you like, oh, I never knew this book is so interesting. Yeah, so interesting. Because you only have few characters in that book. And that book, according to the happenings, happened very long time, even before Abraham and Moses were born.
Lady Joan said we should talk about Mommy Geo doctrine. For me, I don't know why I take that Mommy Geo.
Okay, that funny woman. That funny woman.
I feel say
you don't
content for social media where she take they make money better than saga.
Well,
I don't think because before she popular as Mommy Geo, you don't first hear her church before.
No.
So for me, I think now content. Or who else who see that the way he talk will say if you kiss your wife you are going to heaven straight. No, if you touch breasts, say all men.
Exactly. He say credit card, you go ahead. Later he say you get MasterCard.
Later they go cash and they drink beer.
Yeah.
Now content that woman they create
for
and
Dubai.
she don't popular. She
very
don't
well. And
for me, I think it's a content.
Me see her first. I go
first
of all last say Mommy Gigi. Because what she usually say, they are very, in my own opinion, they are despicable. And I don't think she meant what she's really saying in the real
it's
sense.
A content.
Otherwise, I can't imagine
any human. My question is this. In other words, that woman who complain about spiritual man is right.
Which man?
Okay, one of our lady we saying they dream, they see, not really dream, in they see movement for your house. Man, they come tell and say, you are my wife, you are my. Of course, it's real. Not because of Bible
Let me tell
or
you
not.
something.
If you are involved into some kind certain things, it's real.
Well, she might really not be seeing anything. Let me tell you what might be just going on. You see, this brain has some functionalities. There are part of your brain that gives you information of your surrounding. So long one has mental issue, anything can go on wrong. What about the madman on the street just talking to somebody as if he's quarreling with somebody? He's really not seeing anybody. It is the information that the brain is giving out, uncontrollable one. Information you can no longer hold. That you are really seeing something moving, somebody telling you this. No, it's not true. That is what. See, that is when the state of mind is not healthy, it's corrupted. Even computer, the same thing. See, if your computer is virused, if you click one page, you will begin to have multiple pages. So if that computer can't go complain and say, Pastor, pray for me, because if I click one page where I no want, then they come out.
But that time you don't already talk and say the computer have virus.
Human be also,
any human being wey also dey manifest like that, something is wrong.
Yeah, the brain is virused
sometimes
already.
It can also be they consult bad power that lead to such thing.
What led to what is actually not the issue, but what I'm trying to put out here is that those naked eyes is actually seeing any extra whatever around is not a real thing, so that we don't look at that. Yeah. What the issue is, the brain is malfunctioning. The information the brain is receiving is zigzag, unconstructive, uncontrollable. The woman herself has no power over what she thinks about. She has no power over what she say. If you look at such a person, if you hold conversation with such a person for 5 minutes, you will get 5 different topics within that 5 minutes. Am I lying? That is it. So they jump from one topic to another. Why? They have not finished this. Another one is coming. So there is no sequential movement of anything they want to say. They have no power over what they say, or even in most cases what they do. So the thing starts from the brain. It's a psychological problem. I'm not a psychologist, but many psychologists and philosophers will be able to say something about this. Yeah. But that is what it is. You understand what I mean? They might not just be possessed like a demon comes to reside there. No. But so long the brain is malfunctioning, forget it. Anything can happen. Anything can be spoken. Anything can be seen. Anything can be heard. Anything can be felt. Yeah, anything can be felt.
Yeah, of course.
Anything can happen.
That's why Oyibo go call a meta problem.
It's a meta problem.
But we black go refer to spiritual juju this.
Yeah, because
for Igbo is purely
that is what we understand.
Problem.
Such people, they can get help. They can still go to experts. They know how to treat them. But our own, we conclude the person don't craze. And the way we even attempt to help who is crazy, we even kill that person quicker than.
The reason why the way we dey help who is crazy and we kill them quicker. Sometimes many of us, e also dey our body too much woto. Then you want go dey take care of person wey your own problem don already wotorize, and you be still dey keep your own inside bag. Before that, this one you go say, you don't worry, you are well in Jesus. You go say, I know well. You see, of a good before you know, if you not take care, or go to war, or when or work with the lad, they don't see the man go take care of you.
But actually, it's not supposed to be so. Such a society is sick collectively. You see.
Yeah.
So that is why we need to pray for our society to be very healthy, and the Lord should bring sanity to our own society.
Yeah.
Because if the mind is very sane, you will see everybody behaving well. Nobody will think of evil against each other. But when the mind is corrupt,
Right.
the mind is virused with corruption. All you can think about is always evil,
Okay.
how to
Just
hurt one
like
another.
now, young boys in Africa is eating kaka.
For what?
For money, they want to make money. They will cheat for public place, they go eat am. I'm sorry about that. You will come to us say this thing wey they do today, repercussion is not coming tomorrow. Repercussion
See.
is coming.
Okay, now this is also a shadow of what we have been talking about yesterday, today. See, we may not be able to touch every aspect of my own story I'm talking about, okay? We talked about cult yesterday, and I make you understand that cult is not only on group of boys going to fight other group of boys. Cult may have an agenda or modus operandi. What do they want to do? There is a cult, all they go after is to make money. There is another cult, all they go after is to have as much contact as it can be in government level and in everywhere so that they can be able to infiltrate into the government at will. For that reason, they set up a cult, having lawyers, having this, having that, to lobby, to do this, to do that. So that could be a cult. And you then have another cult again to say, okay, you know what? We are going to be a cult of monopoly. So if we are in the oil business, you must be a part of our own cult before you can freely trade, or trade where we are trading, or trade in a country where we already have our presence. So you see, cult has a very, very different segments, aspect of their own area of specialization, or where they want to be operating. Their modus operandi. So all cults can generally not operate in all area because the idea actually comes from one man. And that idea is what he's always trying to solidify. And that idea is what the rest of the cult member, whether a new member or an old member, collectively they work towards that very agenda to make sure that that agenda is achieved. Think about who the ruling power in Nigeria. Do you ever see any new guy coming in? No, you must be within that ruling elite that they will recycle. So that is also going to be seen as a cult.
Another
So
question.
hold on, let me finish this finally now. That you now see young men coming to do those such despicable stuff in the open place is nothing much more than the same manipulation, false hope I told you like yesterday. Because the hope they gave to them that if you are bold enough to go that far, you eat your poo and you eat your poo and blah 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 blah, then you will make money. But wait, if that rubbish alone can make you make money, why do you think the person telling you that is not yet a millionaire? Or
Exactly.
do you think he doesn't want to make it? Of course he wants to make it. So do you see the brainwashing, belonging, sense of popularity? Why will a young man wants to make money at all costs when you have all the future right ahead of you? You can go to school, you can do every other thing, or rather at most try to travel out of that country. I know the country is a shit at the moment, but that should not be a reason why you should go to that extreme. Because I want to tell you, if it is 100 people that have done it, and I will bet you 101 people have failed in that, they will not be able to make it. What about those killing? Cutting off girlfriend's head? Because one wretched native doctor who is looking for own specific thing simply brainwash you, bring this thing, it will work. It will not work. It has never worked. And it will not work. It's so despicable to talk about. But if, as Nigerians, goes to church daily, church is on every street. Even if you don't go to church, you can be in your own house and hear the gospel from one of the churches around your corner. The gospel is always being preached. How come this much iniquity and despicable stories still emanate from such a society? Yesterday, as Friday was all night, almost all churches embark on all night. Today, as we speak right now, I can bet you more than half of the churches are having services right now. Then tomorrow, of course, all the churches are filled up to the brim. But from on Monday, iniquity begins.
It is terrible.
Iniquity begins. So we can already see, if you really want to investigate and checkmate what we are doing, how our society is progressing, you will understand that those houses we call church, they are actually not a gathering of the children of God. Christ is not there where we are actually looking at. If it was there, we must at least there should fine. There is another one. We must see a testimony. What is it?
My phone no internet. They talk and say why no call?
Okay. So nothing has changed. Nothing is changing. Okay. Nigerians can bring their first fruit salary of every year. That is January salary. Then false hope that
Lady,
court.
no wonder you say you call me.
False hope that court gives.
Can you imagine? No wonder you say you call me. I can't wonder we are there alone.
Hello, Daddy, good evening. Mommy Monica, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, my question is, the book of Job, were there in the church, the angels, God and Job, were they in the church when they were asking God that question? Were they in the church?
No,
Okay.
they were not in the church. No.
Okay.
They
Is
are-
that place heaven?
Yes.
Okay.
God was in heaven communicating with Job in his own situation on earth.
Okay.
That is how it happened. Yeah. You are blessed.
Okay,
You are blessed.
Thank you, sir. Here's the word of the universe.
God bless you, ma.
So
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bye.
So we can see that the gospel of prosperity is not working, and that is the gospel that corrupt all the youth in Nigeria. Gospel of prosperity, a gospel that tells you if you bring small, you will get more. It's a 419 gospel. So that's part of the thing I want us to also talk about tomorrow, so that your eyes can be opened. Have I said don't support church mission? Come up, support. But I will tell you what not to support, and you will see the reason why you should not support those kind of stuff. Because if you support, instead of you being blessed, you will rather be cursed. Why? You are supporting evil movement, and you are simply throwing your money away. You are not sowing it, but they tell you sow it. You don't even sow your money. So those things we'll talk about it briefly.
Okay, my lady said I have experienced spiritual man issue and I am perfectly fine. I was not born in Africa. Yeah, like okay, you want to say Oyibo still dey get am? Of course, Oyibo dey get am. No be the mental
Yes,
thing wey
see,
dey.
yes, because see, let me tell you something. Many
Many
Oyibo people are even into spiritualists more than Africans. Africans do their own very dirty, but Oyibo do their own with pen and paper. Yes, they do rituals as well. They have their own way of rituals which they do. They have their own cult. They even do more despicable thing, you know. And unfortunately, yeah, sex is part of it. That is another day we'll talk about how they use that as a ritual and how they used sex as an appeasement to the Lord. So, folks, I want to go now. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, you can just feel free to drop it on the comment section. I usually go back there to watch them and reply to some of them I felt is very important, such as the woman that wants to know where heaven is.
One of our brother, been a sister for years, is always asking, on the day of judgment, where will you be?
Yeah.
Somebody else answer and say, where will you be too? Just answer and say, I will be in heaven.
Of course,
I will be at the door, ready to enter.
But the best answer is, I will be with my master, Yeshua HaMashiach. Because the Bible says, where he will be, that we will be also. That is the perfect answer for that. So, folks, God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Tomorrow you will see my face again by the grace of God. We're going to be talking about church doctrine.
Do you believe in Yahoo boys eat poop? They show they say that they eat and not that I believe say they go see money through it. Anything you know work you will see money through it.
It's not. That
I don't
is
believe am.
impossible.
That's why person cannot say take this card, do one like this. I know they play am. I don't believe in it. Say kalo. If you no work, I don't believe in that.
Okay, let me leave my benediction for you before I go. May the
We
Lord
all
bless you
are
and
living
keep you.
because we.
May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you. May the Lord
Amen.
lift up his countenance upon you and give you
Amen.
peace all the days of your life. Shalom, alea samuku alheri, and have a nice evening. Enjoy your night, okay? Bless up.
Bless all my people. Thank you, Sir Dadiko. You are loved. Oh yeah, Dadiko. End. Thank you, my people. I see you all by 10 o'clock. Ooh.